Good afternoon, Atlanta. You're listening to WCEG Network, WCEGTalkRadio.com. We are Veterans Today, an episode of Veterans Today on WCEG Network. I am Herman Anderson. My co-host is not available today. We have a guest, Veda Brooks, that I will be introducing in a few minutes. We speak live in the community. We are the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. And the ways that you can watch us, you can click on the live stream tab on your device, or you can watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and WCEG Network. As I say, I am Herman Anderson, and our disclaimer is the topics and opinion are those of the show hosts and guests, not WCEG Network. And we are also a nonprofit, and our business office number is 404-490-8646. 404-490-8646. And at this time, I'm going to introduce our guests. Our guest today is Veda Brooks, Georgia Department of Veteran Services. Veda has a lot of skills and experience. Just to mention a few of her professional experiences and credentials, women veteran coordinator, veteran homeless experience, diversity and inclusion, and one of the veteran suicide prevention. So good afternoon, Veda. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Herman. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay. So in addition to what I just mentioned, anything else you want to add to the introduction?
I just want people to know that I am an advocate for veterans and their family members. And my goal is to ensure that everyone receives the benefits that they are entitled to. I am also a strong advocate for suicide prevention. And I have access to provide free training to any organization, church, community, nonprofit that would like to get that training. And so I am just about making sure that our veteran population, our service members and their families are safe and are taken care of through all benefits that are entitled to them. On a personal note, I have a nonprofit called V2, National Association of Foster Youth, Inc. And you can find us on our website at v2fosteringchange.org. And we work with children who are aging out of the foster care system or leaving the criminal justice system. And our goal is to strengthen them, make them ready to be productive citizens through mentorship. And we also provide items for them to be successful in college or tech school as they age out. So that's really it. Just a little bit of things that I do.
That's a lot. I know the VA updated the suicide prevention number. Is it 988? Is that correct?
That is correct. The new number is 988. You can press 1 if you want to go straight to veterans. If you press 1, there are people who are veterans who will talk to you very specifically about veteran issues. But I do want everyone to know that 988 is a place you can call if you need to talk. If you're having financial issues, they have resources for you. So I'd like to say that suicide prevention is not just when you're in a crisis and you're thinking, I don't want to kill myself. Suicide prevention is when you lose your job in May and you know you're not going to be able to pay your rent in June, call 988. They will start working with you so that you don't have that lapse. They will get you those resources you need. They also will, they can also locate a food bank near you. So all of these things you can be taken care of through the 988 number.
Well, that is super, because just this week I've had 4 calls regarding the issues that you went through with people that got laid off, people that was back paying on their rent, and there are people that's because of the housing situation are being put out of their houses and they hadn't found any place yet. So that's good to know. So thank you. Am I correct? May is military mental illness month?
It is. In May, we are focusing on mental health. There's also where we are also focusing on military sexual trauma. So those two are in the month of May, and we are providing all kinds of resources. We're actually having a summit here in May in Kennesaw. And so it's a free summit to talk about the resources that are available in the state of Georgia, and to kind of see what the governor's challenge to prevent suicide among service members, veterans and their families. We're all going to meet and we're going to talk about this on the 24th and the 25th of May, and it's at the Kennesaw University. And you can find that information on the GDVS website. So Georgia Veterans. And so, yeah, if you can go to our website, or you go to Kennesaw's website, it is posted. It is free to everyone. If you provide a service, there are tables available. Or if you just want to step in and see, hey, I have a teenager that needs some help and I never know where to send them, show up at that summit and you can get that information.
I also have it, Veteran Helping Veterans, so I will post it, and I will also send it out on my email list. So thank you for mentioning that. And I know you handle a lot of calls dealing with mental illness or suicide prevention. I have called you on Friday afternoons. So what else do you want to talk about in regards to that?
So this is what I would like to talk about in regards to suicide prevention. Suicide prevention is something that we all can take a part in. And the key is to talk to people. We hang out with our family members, we see them, we notice that something's kind of off, but we don't want to intrude. Ask the question, are you thinking about committing suicide? Listen, I know you lost your job. I know things are stressful. What can I do to relieve some of that stress? Everybody thinks that means they're going to have to open their wallet. No, you don't have to open your wallet, but you can provide them the 988 number. You can go into one of the 56 GDVS offices that we have. We have a platform called Unite Georgia, where they can be referred based on their zip code to resources, food resources, housing, all of those different things. So I guess what I want to say more than anything else is that we are our brother's keeper. And it is up to us to talk, to have the conversation, and to listen. Don't try to fix it. No one's coming to you to fix it. That's not what they want. What they want is somebody to listen to them. And if you listen, you'll find that sometimes the thing that is causing them the most stress is that they don't have food. There are plenty of food banks. If you don't know where to go, if you contact Herman, Herman will contact me, and I will make sure that you have so many food banks to go to, or you can get food delivered to you. We will make sure that you eat, because that's going to relieve a stress. And so when you're standing there and you're thinking, I can either buy groceries or I can pay the copay on my medication, right? We can definitely make sure you have food. So let us get you the food and then you take care of the medication. I also want to talk about the housing. So a lot of people own their home and then they get laid off and then they get behind in their mortgage. And they think because there is a fail-safe where you can go ahead and defer your payment to the end. I say, make that deferment payment, absolutely, because you need time to get yourself together. But then call the VA, 1-800-827-1000, give them a call, let them know that you own your home, you've lost your job, and you want to see what you can do with your VA loan. They will help you refinance it, lower your rates. They'll do the heavy lifting for you. But let's say I'm a veteran, but I never used my VA loan. As long as you are in good standing and you're entitled to the VA loan, they will take your loan that you have with, let's say, Wells Fargo, and they will convert it to a VA loan and lower your interest rate. And again, help you keep your home. The key is to keep you housed. And that's why I always say, the truth is we know that we are not going to be able to pay our rent before the rent day comes. The moment you realize you're not going to be able to pay your rent, that's when we need you to reach out, because the resources can come, but they might take 2 weeks. So once the sheriff is knocking on the door, there's nothing we can do. You can call me from your cell phone inside the thing, thinking if I keep the sheriff out, they won't take the thing. They will take it, and I'll be talking to you while they're opening up that door. So don't do that to yourself. Reach out beforehand. And that, I think that is the most important. As veterans, we always try to fix it ourselves, figure it out. Meanwhile, we're wasting time, and we are here. Think of yourself as still part of that battalion, that company, that that platoon, that squad. There are a lot of resources out there. But if you stay quiet, we don't know that you need them. And by the time gunfire is going, if we haven't equipped you, you're not going to make it through the fight. And so we're here to make sure you make it through the fight, because we are here to fight together. So I do want to say that. I also want to talk about military sexual trauma.
Okay, Jess. And one thing, the United platform is kind of new. It came in, I believe, last year. It was
Yes.
activated.
Yes.
And it really is very helpful, because I use it in actually Cobb Connect and Vets use it a lot. And I want all organizations to know about it, and it's available, and it's not additional expenses to your organization. It is some time required, but it's very helpful. And another point is, two of the people I dealt with this week, like today is their deadline, and it's just too late.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and Unite Georgia is available to nonprofits. The Georgia Department of Veteran Service, we are paying for the license. And one of the things that Commissioner Ross made sure when she was speaking with them was that all of the organizations that help veterans, nonprofit, community, national organizations, Veterans Helping Veterans, you all can get your own free license and get your people trained and do that. And so if there's anybody who's interested in actually having their organization have their own license, again, reach out to Herman. Herman will reach out to me, and I will make sure I connect you with the right person.
Okay, now MST.
So MST, military sexual trauma, is one of those things that people are still having a hard time talking about. But what I want to say is, this really is not about a label. This is about getting you, of course, we can file the claim and we can get you money. That money is not going to, it's going to help you financially, but it's not really going to change how you're feeling. And so my goal is to make sure anyone who has, if you're ready to tell your story and file a claim, or if you're not, still reach out to me, because I want to get you the mental health support that you need so that you can thrive. I have lots of clients who they've been dealing with this for years, and their mental health is to the point where they're not even able to leave their homes. And they have lost relationships with family. I have men who don't want to speak about it because even though they were assaulted, they're still embarrassed that they weren't able to fight the person off. And that's a heavy burden to carry. It's also difficult for the children of those who are suffering from PTSD. When you have PTSD, you might think you're getting it together and nobody is noticing, but the children are noticing. And we are seeing more and more adult children of veterans who have PTSD in therapy because they have almost identical fears of their parents because that's what they grew up under. And so I do want everyone to know that the Vet Center not only will help the veteran, it will also do marriage counseling, but it would also do counseling with your children to make sure that they understand how to process what's happening. And we need to pay attention to our teens. Suicide is rising quicker in ages 14 to 23 than any other population. And while we do know nationwide, our 65 to 80 population has always kind of carried that heavy burden of completion. What we know now is that we're seeing it in our children. And many of those children are now caregivers. And we don't really think about it. But the truth is, our veterans, 18 years we were at war. Our veterans came back without legs. They came back with brain injuries. They came back with mental health injuries. They came back unable to work. So now you have a 12-year-old who is, when they get home from work, mom is going to her full-time job because the father can't work. And then the 12-year-old is responsible for making sure dad eats dinner, that you make sure he gets his meds, and that you call 911 if he falls. And so those kids are doing it because they love their parents. But we also, as adults and as veterans, we have to make sure that we are surrounding those families with support. So let's not forget our kids because they have gone through it as well.
The Vet Center is very helpful. But also, I believe the VA is actually making more funding available for mental health treatment. And in my opinion, the veterans, like you say, because of what you just said, we are not really using those resources.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's important that veterans know that there are resources more than there was in the past years because you had to wait, you get turned back. But some of those people that I deal with today, if they put in the paperwork and it's available. So I would like to emphasize that it is available, and what Veda just went through is we just need to push ourselves a little bit and get ourselves involved, our families involved in mental health treatment, and it's, there's always been this issue about not wanting people to know that you're dealing with these issues. But as a Vietnam veteran, the one thing that me and a lot of my buddies discovered, when we were working about 15 to 20 hours a day, and we come home and went to sleep and went back to work, your memory didn't go back through the war zone and all the stuff that was happening then. But once you retire and you get really where you can't stay busy and keep your mind on other stuff, then you start thinking about it. So that's
that is true. That is so true. A lot of people will say, well, that happened 20 years ago. That happened 30, 40 years ago. Why now? Why now? Because there's no soccer games. There's no, you're not going to football games. You're not running your kids around. Right now you have the quiet of your home, and you are able to hear those memories are coming back. There's no distractions. And you're wondering, why am I feeling like this? And I just want you to know that what you're feeling is perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal. You're not crazy. And so I do want to make it clear that because you are seeking mental health does not mean you're crazy. Nobody's going to take your job away. Nobody's coming for your children. Nobody is going to tell you can't visit your grandbabies. None of that. But what will happen through the right mental health care is that you will learn coping skills, so that when you are in a crowded room and you can't even focus on your grandbaby on stage because you keep looking to make sure nothing's about to happen, and you're checking exits, and you're seeing if that strange person with the long coat on is just a weird guy who likes that kind of outfit. When you're doing all of that and you miss the cutest performance ever, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. This is what you do to survive. And so I want you to know that that's normal. But you can also go into therapy and learn some other coping skills that will help you feel a little more comfortable. You're still going to be looking. That's the truth. You're still going to look. You're not going to get to the place where you're never going to look. You're going to know. I know every exit and every Walmart I ever go into or I don't go. That's important to me. I need to know where to go, right? I also like to assess and see, where could I go for a moment until I get to where I'm going? That's my normal now. You go into a war zone and you learn how to survive in the worst conditions, and you just don't turn that off. So just know it's normal. It's normal. So I tell everybody, locking your doors at night before you go to bed, that's not a problem. Everybody does that. Most people, my grandmama didn't, but most people, they lock all their doors. Here's the issue though. The fact that I get up 4 and 5 times a night to double check that I actually lock the doors. You know what I'm saying? Now I might be thinking, hey, maybe I should talk to somebody. But because it becomes your normal, you're like, I thought everybody checks their doors in the middle of the night in case somebody came in that you don't know about. No, that's not really what everybody's thinking, but I understand. I do.
And if you're doing that, you're not really getting a good amount of sleep either.
Right.
So that's another issue.
And then that affects your memory. So then you start thinking, I forget everything. You're forgetting stuff because your brain never rested. You never got real sleep. So we can work with you. The VA can work with you. The resources are there. And many of the things that you are asking for, are in need of, are free to you. You've earned them. They're not giving you anything. You've earned this.
Exactly. And I just saw a information piece from the VA regarding the availability of getting a DD Form 214. The VA is at least trying to make it help people understand the process. There's still a process and a paperwork to do it, but I found out a lot of people, like you mentioned, that's never been in the system. So in order to get in the system, you have to go through the process of of that paperwork.
Yes, and here's the other thing. It is, you need a DD 214 to file a claim. But let's say you don't have a DD 214, but you know for a fact that you served in the military. You can't find your DD 214. You requested your DD 214 during COVID and it never showed up because apparently everybody who worked at the National Archive Center got off. I don't know what they did. So they were kind of closed. And so you never received it. Fill out the paperwork requesting your DD 214 with all of the information that you can possibly have. Keep a copy of that form. And when you walk into one of the GDVS offices, tell them that you want to file a claim or an intent to file. So you have a year to get all of your stuff together and hand them that form so that the VA knows that you are looking for a DD 214, but it has not arrived. And so if you do that and they send it in, that DD 214 will show up in your VBS files probably way before it gets sent to you, but that's okay because at least they have it. And when they get ready to, when you go in with all of your other evidence and you file this claim, they're preparing. So do that intent to file and then SF 180 and send it in. And if you get online to request your SF 180, they will email you back some paperwork to show that you requested it. And that you can use that form as well to go ahead and send it in with your intent to file. But I say, don't sit and wait for all the pieces to roll in together. You have control of everything you have control of, you get that in. The stuff you don't have control of, do the paperwork so that the VA can do due diligence in supporting you in making this claim work.
That is great because those are little pieces of information that I would say a lot of us don't know, and you just told us is go ahead and pursue it like I'm going to get it, and don't sit and wait. That is good news. So thank you on that. And the other issue that's kicking around in Congress is about the VA reducing benefits. I think there are 5 of them that came out a couple of weeks ago. You have any comments on that? Are you aware of that?
Now, I am not aware that they are reducing benefits. I know they did some things like you used to file for tinnitus and then file for hearing loss, but now they're combining those.
Now, this is not effective yet. It's the new Congress that proposing this, so it hasn't went through yet.
Okay. I am not aware of that, but you know what? I am going to research that and I will definitely come back and talk to you about it. So do you know any of the ones that they're trying to reduce?
I actually do. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, because I would definitely like to know that. Because they usually I want to know that. Now I do know that every once in a while, once they decide, well, there's no one living from World War II, so we're gonna, take these off because of whatever. I know that thing, but I will definitely look into what they're proposing, because now would be the time for us and other national organizations to do a hard review of those and start sending in our resolutions on why we think it should not be taken away.
Actually, I had it on my desk, so let me proposal number 1, removing VA disability pay for veterans who work. Our issue is with limiting disability pay by income. Proposal number 2, ending TDIU, 100% disability payment rates for veterans who can't work once they hit retirement age. Number 3, taxing VA disability payment. Number 4, ending disability compensation for veterans with 10% and 20% disability rating. 5 is reducing VA disability compensation by 30% once veteran hit SSA retirement age.
Oh my goodness. They're in there trying to, they're just in there trying to take all the money. How are you going to say that you want to tax VA? This is a disability. You guys, oh yeah, we need to fight those. I have serious problems with all of those, to be honest. And how are you going to tell me that, so now they want to use age as an issue. So they're saying once you get a certain age, you shouldn't have certain things because we're already giving you Social Security.
Exactly.
Nobody lives off of $1,000.
Well, that's true. And it's back to what you said in the beginning. We have earned, as veterans, we have earned those benefits. It's not that Congress has the right to try to allot us our benefits based on age and all this other stuff they're putting in there. So yeah, I agree.
I am not going to talk politics, but
I'll send it to you.
All right. I appreciate that, because I think it's time for us to let all of our local people know that this is definitely a no for us. And I'm going to make sure that every national organization I know gets this list and we bind together to say no. This is worth voting people out over.
It is. We'll stay non-political, like you said. And one thing that I had our producer Vivian is a veteran also. Before we went live, is one way to get veterans to understand what a war does to you, what is to go to the VA. I don't, in Atlanta, I don't clear just go there and a lot of times when you're a veteran, we've been there sitting in the lobby and sitting waiting, and you see the real what it does to us. And
yeah,
that's one way to try to get people to understand it's war is real.
And VA is in general, they do a huge push to advertise how they are taking care of mental health of veterans. But we have seen an increase. I'm just going to use Atlanta. We have seen an increase of veterans who work there, who have diagnoses of mental health, and some who don't. But we have seen the employees of the Atlanta VA hospital become unhinged. And I believe that it is because no one is really taking care of that disabled veteran that they hired. They're not making sure that they get the mental health care that they need. And some of that is because the people who work at the VA don't really want to get care at the VA because they don't want everybody to know what's happening. So we have to do something again and trust me, I am not condoning bad behavior. But what I am saying is that I think the VA has to take responsibility for ensuring that all veterans, even the ones they hire, are getting the mental health services that they've earned, so that we don't have these outbursts, and so that other veterans aren't harmed by other veterans. It's difficult. They're working within a system where they are giving information out that they know bothers them as well. it's difficult to say, yeah, we can see you, but we don't have an appointment for another 45 days. And you're looking at this patient, and this patient looks like they need some care right now. And there's nothing in your, there's nothing that you can do to deviate from the policy. And so I think we have to teach people how to deal with the stress in a work environment. And I think that's important.
You're 100% correct. And the incident at Fort McPherson, I'm sure you're aware of what happened there. I mean, that's a case of that is so the VA, and it's like in any professional organization, employees want their privacy, but then the organization should have a way for the employee to go get treatment outside of the organization and keep it private.
Yes.
I mean,
and again, we owe, for so many reasons, we owe gratitude to our Vietnam veterans. The climate of when the people came back from the wars that we've had these last 18 years was different because we learned some lessons from Vietnam. We learned some lessons as a country. But more than that, when Vietnam veterans came back and they found that they were not, they didn't trust the VA. Our Vietnam veterans are the reasons why we have the Vet Center. The Vet Center is paid by the federal government, but it is completely and totally separate from the VA hospital. So what you're saying over at the Vet Center is not part of your regular records. So you can go see all the doctors you want, but whatever you're saying to that therapist, wherever you're saying in group, never goes over to the VA hospital. You literally have to go over as the veteran, pick up a copy of your records and send them over there. They won't even electronically send them because they are committed to keeping what you are saying in therapy private from the VA. And so a huge gratitude to Vietnam veterans who thought, not only thought of what they needed, but fought to make it a law. So even now it is still exists. And so a lot of people think of Vietnam veterans as Vietnam veterans, but I don't think they have any idea how much work they did in lawmaking, in policy making to make it better for veterans that were coming behind them. And I think people need to know that history. So even though some of our Vietnam veterans won't walk in, they still fought to make it better for the people who came after them. And I personally am forever grateful for the work that they did.
Well, that you're exactly correct. And I'm a Vietnam veteran. And one thing that not to get political again, but it used to be that most of the congressmen and representatives, at least 50% of them were veterans. In the politics now is most of the people that's represented us are not veterans. So that's just an issue. I won't take it any further.
But all I'm saying is, I concur. You can't say what's best for me or advocate what's best for me when you haven't even talked to me. You don't even know you don't even know what my life is like. So it's difficult for you to go in and fight for what I know I need. And you're not talking to me. You're looking at numbers on a paper, you're reading stats, and let's just be honest, I've worked in big organizations before. When we're giving our big report to decide whether or not we stay viable and that we continue to get funding and that we stay alive, trust me, we're gonna ask the questions that make us look better than the questions that make us look worse. Do you understand what I mean? And so I need somebody that's headed to DC to stop asking the questions to themselves and actually sit down with veterans who are in the fight to get what they should have. And that's just not happening. It's not happening. And on that level, we get silliness like those 5 things that people think this is the best way to save money. Really? Because you were barely paying me minimum wage when I walked in, and then you gave me a gun and told me, now you've committed to go wherever I told you. And I said, yes, sir. And now you want to tell me because I outlived the cancer that I was exposed to, that you should stop taking care of me? That's going to save you some money?
That's another current event. I actually got a call about the incident from a reporter. Is every time there's a mass shooting, the first question is, was this person associated with the military? And I mean, that to me, there's no reason for that.
Well, here's the deal. I watched every Rambo movie. I thought he was cool. But what I didn't realize was that Rambo was saying to the general population of people in the ages that are sitting in Congress right now, that veterans who go to war come back crazy. And again, if you've never talked to a veteran and the only thing you have feeding your opinion is Rambo.
That's true. That is true. So what else you got going on? I know you have a event coming up.
I do. I have an event coming up in June. This is in June 10th, Saturday, June 10th. We will be at the, I should know this, we'll be in Macon at Middle Georgia University. And there we are having a gala to celebrate 75 years of women being able to serve legally. We've been serving before then, but we're not going to talk about that on this program. We're going to say that for another day. So we are asking women to send in pictures, send pictures in of themselves now. And if they have a picture of themselves in uniform, take a picture. We want to add all of our Georgia women to our slideshow. And then once we have that slideshow completed, we will take that slideshow and we are going to send it to our women's museum down in DC, and we're going to record the women of Georgia down there, so we will be part of history forever. And so we just want to say this gala is a celebration of women warriors who stepped up with courage, and they are continuing to serve today. So it's amazing how many, it's veterans, period. It's weird that veterans make up of 10% of the population, but we make up of 80% of volunteers in the country. It's because it's who we are. You know what I mean? It's who we are. So I'm very excited to just come and celebrate women. This isn't about, there's no seminars. There's just good food, dancing. Some awards will be given out. And this is just us celebrating ourselves for just being awesome. That's what we're doing. And I would love to host the young lady on your staff. I would love for her to be there. So make sure give her my email address and tell her if she is interested in coming down and being part of that event, then I'd love to have her. Great.
Okay. So is there a flyer out, any announcement out yet?
Yes, and I will resend that to you. I will send that to you, Herman, and I will make sure the registration is on Eventbrite. So, but yeah, it's there. And so I will send you all of the information so you can make sure you put it out to your listeners and post it on all of your Facebook and all those other wonderful places that you are.
Okay. May, any other activities dealing with the mental health, May, that you would like to talk about?
No, but I would like to send, if you are interested in participating in any of the mental health events that are happening in May, check with your local VA hospitals. They're happening all over. We'll be in Rome, Georgia, doing the PACT Act. I'll be down in, personally, I'm going to be down in Dublin for a walk and roll. I'm going to be then, so Dublin has some events happening. I'm telling you, there are events happening on all of our VA campuses, so go out and do that. There is one other thing I wanted to say that I didn't say. We have 2 Georgia War Veterans homes that are run by the state. They are nursing homes, full nursing care, and we even have a memory care at one of them. The thing I wanted to tell you is that for the state nursing homes, you do not, I repeat, you do not have to be at 70% service connected to qualify. You qualify because you served. So
That is great.
So if you or a family member needs a nursing home, and I know we only have 2 right now, one's in Augusta and one is in Milledgeville, but by the time they do all the paperwork and get everybody done, I think you're going to be paying, I think the average pay right now is $350 a month, which is huge, because I know that the local nursing homes are charging about $6,000, and you are getting all of the care. You're getting full care. And so even if you just want to take a tour and check it out, in case you're thinking maybe I might want to go later, or, just I really recommend that you check them out, because we do have several families who are in debt right now because they can't afford to take care of their parents or someone with dementia. So I do want to make sure that you guys, everyone knows about the Georgia War Veteran Homes.
Is there a waiting list?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir. There is no waiting list, and we're expanding.
That's great. I have experience with the one in Milledgeville. And also just trivia, I was born in Dublin. So.
Awesome.
So I'll probably be down there anyway.
All right.
Okay. Well, it's good to know that there's not a waiting list for the nursing home. So I actually last year I actually referred to someone to the one in Milledgeville. And going back a few years, I have a family member that actually was in Milledgeville. It worked out fine.
Yeah, and Milledgeville is expanding. We're getting a subacute unit, and that subacute unit is going to be used to help people who've had a stroke, TBIs, and I don't know, so when you're severely injured and then you can't go home right away, you usually go to Fort Sam Houston. And Fort Sam Houston, they have the big burn center, they have the state-of-the-art TBI. So what Georgia has done is they now have a subacute, which is much smaller than what they do, on Fort Sam Houston. But so when the veteran can leave the care at the hospital, but is not quite ready to come home, if you are at Fort Sam Houston and you are a Georgia resident, you can now come back to Georgia go into that subacute, and they will get you ready to go home, and then family can visit you instead of going as far as Fort Sam Houston. They can now go to Milledgeville and see you and work with you, and they can do a family plan to get you home. So, yeah.
That is great. That's good news. And we got a little bit more time left. What's next on your list?
What's next on my list? So what's next on my list after the gala, because I'm super excited about the gala happening, we are ready to train. We want to hit the national organizations, the churches, and we want to teach them suicide prevention. We want to teach them the signs. I have recently gone through the training to also do it for teens. So if you have youth groups who want training, or youth leaders who want training, we can also provide that for free. We just want to make sure that we are saving lives. If there's food insecurity in your area, please reach out to us and let us know. If you are a veteran in that area and there is food insecurity in that area, I will work with you to do what needs to be done to get that fixed, and or to provide more food coming in, so we can do that. Also, if you are in low income areas and you need things like backpacks or other school items for your children, let us know, reach out to us, because even though we don't do backpacks, we have enough partners that we may be able to provide those items for you. Or if you have an organization that does it, we can partner with them with getting them more things. So it's just one of those things where I just kind of want to make sure that everybody knows that GDVS is in partnership with you as the veteran to provide the things that you need, to advocate for those things that you need, or to connect you with organizations that already provide those. And so that's what we're doing. And that's really what we're looking for. Stay tuned for when HUD VASH comes out, because if you own properties, rental properties, and you want to allocate one or two of them to go to veterans, pretty soon HUD will be announcing how to do the paperwork and how to put your home or your living quarters up for to do that. And and basically everybody's like, oh, I don't know if I want to work with HUD, they want so much. Well, the HUD wants you to have floors, walls, and a roof that doesn't leak, water, heating, and air. That's what they're asking for. So it is not above and beyond what you can, what you would normally do in housing. So don't be frightened off by HUD. Yes, sir.
When you mentioned HUD, it triggered a thought. Is a lot of veterans that I deal with, and probably you, is not aware. They don't see the importance of knowing who your social worker at the VA is. That is very important. And I just want to put that out there, but it's
yeah, you know what? It is very important. I have never been in a forum where I'm giving a speech and I ask people, raise your hand if you know who your social worker is. And one person will raise their hand out of 40. And then I ask the question, do you know that the VA assigned you a social worker? When you signed up, you automatically got a social worker. The issue is no one ever introduced you to that social worker. So when the next time you go see your primary doctor, ask them, what social worker am I assigned to?
I couldn't have said it any better. Mm-hmm. That's great. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the seminars. It's for nonprofit churches like Vietnam Veterans of America, the VSOs also.
Everybody. We will train VSOs, we will train family of VSOs, we will train the teachers in your community who want to know the information. We just believe that we need to be out there. And why would we want to teach teachers? Teachers, they already know stuff. They do. But when that kid is acting up in class and being rebellious, how many of those teachers are thinking, oh, their dad came back and he was missing a leg and man, he has a severe TBI. She might not be sleeping so well. They're not thinking that. They're not. And so we need to make them aware of the things that they should be looking for in our children who are children of veterans or service members. Because there are special circumstances that our children go through that the general population is not. So we need to make them aware. But the other thing is, there has never been a time where we've had too many people trained to see the signs of suicide in our children in our mission to save their lives. We have to.
Well, I want to close with, because I think the Georgia Department of Veteran Services is really underused by veterans in Georgia. So I just want to let everybody know that there is a Georgia Department of Veteran Services. And I believe you guys have 13 offices, 15 throughout the state in the website. And so
we now have 56 offices
throughout Georgia.
And 2 of them are on, we have one on Fort Benning and one on Fort Stewart, so that we can begin to connect people who are exiting the service to the resources right away, so they don't get out 2 or 3 years later and they have no idea what to do. So we are really working hard to connect with our transitioning veterans, our veterans, and making sure that that's what we're doing. One other thing too, for any veterans who are listening, who were affected by the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, we are available to help you upgrade your discharges. So we will take care of that. We serve everyone who served. So don't think that GDVS is not a place for you. If you served, we are here to serve you. So just remember, we are available to advise you, to walk you through some processes, and to help you refile claims from your injuries that you were denied because your discharge was bad. It's not too late.
Well, I got one of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I'll call you on it.
All right. I appreciate that.
That is Atlanta in the nation, the world. We just completed Veterans Today with Veda Brooks. Great program. Thank you, Veda. And
thank you.
Everyone have a great weekend. WCEG Network, Veterans Today. Good afternoon, everyone.